There's life is constantly changing. Nothing is permanent, and it's important to really don't get bogged down on negative thoughts, and really start looking at this as a major issue. I mean, the pandemic itself, it's a lot to handle to begin with, and we have to take all those precautionary measures with social distancing and wearing masks and keeping our hands sanitized and trying to avoid as much gatherings and social activities as we can. At the same token, in terms of our faith, even during the Prophet's time, he had ordered people to stay home when they had, had diseases and plague that was in Medina. So this is something that we have encountered before in 1919, 1990, when there was influenza.
Yes.
So civilizations have gone through similar challenges and difficulties, but we are resilient human beings, and we are capable of overcoming this, and we will be able to overcome this. And this is not permanent. This is not going to happen. Next, inshallah, hopefully, will not happen next Ramadan. So this is one of the things to take an opportunity to understand what is the message. What is the message from God? What is the lesson Allah is telling us to learn from this? I think that's the key. And I think we need to pay attention to that. Rather than being too focused that we're not able to do this, we are restricted or we are bogged down in one place, And I think, to me, the message is to be more loving and kind and be more appreciative and have more gratitude to your loved ones, more gratitude to your wife and husband and kids, and having everything you're blessed with.
Absolutely. As a good Muslim, we are always growing up, we were taught to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his personality. He devoted his life serving Allah and serving his people, being kind, being compassionate. That was his life, and this is the best time to follow his example. Even in hardships, many hardships, he was still able to be thankful. He was still able to be kind. If you read about the Sirat of the Prophet, his smile was very prominent. When you look at ahadith, it talks about how the Prophet used to smile a lot. So, this is the time to follow those examples and follow those ahadith. Another thing I wanted to talk about, first thing is our utmost faith in Allah. In the Quran, it says, that surely Allah loves those who place their trust in Allah. So absolutely at this time, unequivocally, we have to have complete faith in our in Allah's compassion, and that He is Rahman and He is Rahim, and this time will pass. Like you said, this is not something that's going to be permanent, but we have to get through this time in a positive manner. Another thing we talk, yes.
One of the things I would like to add is that everybody has smartphones now. And you're literally fingertips away to reach out to people. We can do Zoom, we can do FaceTime.
Yeah.
And that's, even though we're not able to go to mosque, a lot of people were able to connect, and we still can do that. Tomorrow is Eid. We can reach out to people, rekindle our relationship with friends or some relatives. We can do a lot of that by reaching out, and it means a lot to somebody who might be lonely, who may be going through a difficult time, who may be struggling to deal with this. And I think that's where Allah is saying that, people that have family, people that are abundant, with good income and good health and everything, that all the blessings that God has bestowed upon them, is to, go reach out to people that are in need, and you will know who that is. There's no mystery. So you can always find 5-10 minutes to reach out, and I think this is what God's saying. The hadith in Bukhari, I'd like to add here, where I'm not paraphrasing, but on the day of judgment, God will say, "O son of Adam, I was sick and you did not come and see me." And the person replied that, "How can I come see your God? How can you get sick?" And Allah will say that so-and-so was sick. Had you visited that person, you had visited me. And same thing was somebody was hungry. So it's a great example that, I was lonely or I was feeling depressed, and he had visited me, or called me or text me or do a video Zoom, you have visited me. So I think we have to, and this is an opportunity maybe to understand that, we're at the fingertips away to call somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, a few minutes of conversation can really change the dynamics, feelings and emotions, especially in the evening, when they're lonely. So there are a lot of people out there that don't have families.
I completely you were phasing out a little bit Faisal over there, but I completely agree with you. Brotherhood and community is an important thing in our religion. Reaching out to your neighbors, reaching out to your relatives, helping people in need it's actually really the essence of our religion. Is based on charity, not just charity, but acts of kindness. Constant acts of kindness. Making sure that your neighbor is not sleeping, hungry. Thank you, Andrew, for appreciating. He's saying we're making some good points. Um, so that took me to the next point. Is yes, this is a new way of celebrating Ramadan. This is a new way of celebrating Eid. Now, even the mosques are coming up with new ways of having khutbas. Khutbah is like a live sermon. They're having live sermon on Facebook. They're having live. They're inviting people to do namaz, Eid namaz on Facebook Live. So, and then yes, again, you have so many venues of reaching out to others to help and support. That would be a new way of. That would be the new norm of celebrating Eid also, and also come up with some new traditions that a new way of celebrating Eid with your children, a new way of celebrating Eid with your family. So yes, it is a loss in the physical sense. However, we can modify. We can bring changes to it.
Yeah,
And I like
I
that.
think Allah always encourages, and the Prophet always encouraged us to adapt. That doesn't mean that you're compromising with your faith, your core values of your religion. But adapt. 1,400 years ago, people were riding on camels and horses. Now we got cars. So now we got technology that we have to adapt. The same way we adapted with our jobs, we have to adapt in our social gatherings and social events and religious gatherings. And the key is to continue with that momentum, our faith. And that's what it is in the end. It's really between me and God. It's between you and God. It's
Right.
that connection to work on. So sometimes we get lost with these big events and going to mosque, not realizing that the end is between you and Allah.
Yeah, I think in the past few years, Ramadan had become very commercial. It was all about who is having the biggest iftar, who's wearing the best outfits, really, and the purpose of Ramadan was getting lost somewhere in amongst all of that. But I did want to take some time and talk to people and say, hey, it's understandable that you feel this that we are not able to celebrate Eid in the conventional ways, but there are other ways of doing things. You can adapt to new ways of doing things, and you have to remember to be thankful, to say Alhamdulillah. You have to remember to be patient. You have to remember to share your bounties that Allah has given you with others. That is really the core of Ramadan and the core of our teachings. And at the same time, being positive, staying positive, that this is a temporary phase. It will end, and we will ultimately go back to life. But hopefully, we have learned something from all of this, and as we move on, we can implement some of those lessons in our future lives. I don't know when that would be. What do you think about that? What is your prognosis on this COVID?
I think my view is that, I think that we have to be still very careful. We're still not out of the woods. We can see it now, over 100,000 American
Yes.
lives been lost.
Yes.
A lot of them
Yes.
avoided. I don't want to politicize this, but our current administration was really behind and slow, and they didn't acknowledge and take necessary initiatives that they should have. We could have had a lot less loss of life. So
Right.
we are still. I think that people are very careful as we go through phase 1, 2, and 3. The restaurants are starting to open. People are able to go to salons and parks. I think people still need to be very mindful. Need to take all the precautionary measures by wearing masks and and keeping the sanitizers, washing their hands as much, and keeping distance from people about 6 feet away. The elder and the children. So I think we're still far from this over. We don't have any vaccine. It could take a long time. It could be a year before something can really come up.
Right.
But I think we can take certain steps, to safeguard ourselves and our families. And this is the new reality. It is what it is. There's nothing you can avoid it. You can't change it. You just have to adapt to it and learn to be careful and maybe go
and
back
cope
to
with it.
same
Yes,
age. So
the best that you can. Yes. So we have a comment here. Let me just read that. Andrew is saying, I think the current situation is allowing all of us, regardless of our religion, to bring more awareness to our relationship with God. Can you comment on that, Professor?
yeah, I absolutely. I think that what is God telling us, regardless whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, or even atheist. That's beside the point. That what is God sending message to the humanity? And I always go back to this one verse, which I think is in the Quran and also in Torah, what the Jews believe in, is that being gets hurt. It's like the entire humanity is suffering.
Right.
And I think that's the key. Is that
you are pausing, we couldn't hear you for a minute.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with the video.
Yeah, but it's all right. So yeah, definitely it's a time to deepen your connection with God for sure. And this is not supposed to be a sermon, but we were talking from a Muslim perspective, but to our community and to other communities, that we are all in a very similar place right now, and now more than ever is the time to reach out to that bag of values that we were taught over and over again, and practice them. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today is there was a crash that happened in Karachi, and I believe 100 to 107 passengers. Two survived, and the rest all, passed away. Islam also teaches us about the impermanence of life, how temporary this life is right here on this planet. And so enjoying each and every breath and being thankful for each and every breath that we have here, each and every ability to perform our lives normally as much as we can, to enjoy food, to enjoy the weather, to even have this conversation. It is so important to realize how fragile life can be. You must have heard about the crash in Karachi.
Absolutely. I mean, my family's in Karachi. I wanted to say one more thing about the previous thing Andrew talked about, is that God is also sending us a message that we're all in this together. And it comes together is respect of your faith, your color, your race, your sexual orientation, anything. You put it beside it. We are human beings. We are a creation of Allah. We're a creation of God. And that's what God's saying is that you're all together. I created you like in Quran, different tribes and nations, but test you, but you're all the same. So in times of this tragedy or going through challenges like COVID, we come together, and we help each other out any way we can. Coming to the crash, what happened in Karachi yesterday, first of all, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families, to the loved ones and friends who have lost.
Absolutely.
Breaking, that most of these people in the aircraft were looking forward to spending quality time, celebrating Eid al-Fitr with their families, and they were a minute away to land at the airport, and they were getting ready probably, and thinking about getting the luggage and running to go to the, get the luggage from the conveyor belts and meeting their loved ones at the terminal. And the next thing you know, the plane is gone and land crashing into a densely resident populated location. And
that was minutes away. And minutes away.
Yeah, there are no guarantees in this life. There are only opportunities, and we have to really appreciate. I know it's very easy to say that, and when we're in emotions, when we're in conflict, when husband and wives are disagreeing, or friends are disagreeing, or we're upset about business, or upset about losing a job, or not able to go to the park or to the masjid or something, whatever it is, I think we have to realize how blessed we are abundantly that we have this thing called life, that we're healthy and eat and talk and laugh and do a lot of things. So, the tragedy of yesterday's crash, may Allah bless them, the paradise in Jannah.
Ameen. Ameen.
Allah give sabr and patience to a lot of the families. There's one reading about wife and all his kids that crash. I cannot even imagine what he's going through. Yes. So, but I think for a lesson for us is that just put our differences aside. Forgive each other. That doesn't mean that you continue to endure oppression or abuse. That's not what I'm saying. That if you can't forgive and there is that forgiveness allows a situation to evolve into a better situation, then that's a great thing. And sometimes we hold on to grudges and anger. Put that away because life is too short. It is, and there's no knowing what can happen in the next minute. Like what happened in the airplane. People were literally about thinking about meeting the loved ones, and a minute away the plane's down.
That's what boggles me is this was just a minute away, and they're reaching their destination. They're ready to celebrate Eid with their families, and their life is ended. So reaching out. I think the core or the message here is we are in unprecedented times. These are testing times. These are, and it is okay. I want to validate everybody's emotion of feeling overwhelmed, of feeling stressed out. Yes, I understand that. It is very important to acknowledge that. However, what Faisal and I are trying to say is this can be an opportunity that has presented itself, and we can take this as an opportunity. Like you said, can you repeat what you just said? In life, there are no, but only opportunities.
Actually, I quote from General MacArthur. In the World War II, when he said to his battalion, is that there are no guarantees, there are only opportunities. Meaning that we go, so take the opportunity and run with it. And live your dreams. And if you love somebody, say to that person, "I love you." Don't hold it back because you're a guy or a girl or somebody. No, again, that doesn't mean that if somebody is being disrespectful to you and hurting you on a consistent basis or being abusive, that you continue to be coming to that person. Then that's injustice. So you need to guard yourself. But at the same token, I think that this is an opportunity in life we have been given, to love people, to be kind, to be compassionate, to serve our community, and people need to realize that. I'm sure many do. Is that by serving our communities, this is a big form of worship.
Yes.
This is a so I think that instead of looking at this as challenges and not knowing what can happen tomorrow, we don't know what can happen tomorrow, but we know what's happening right now at this moment. This moment, in this present moment, this is where we people need to be living, is in the present. And most of us end up living in the past, or many end up living in the future, and a lot of us don't even live in the present, not realizing that the best days of your life are passing by you and not even paying attention. So I think that when I say it's an opportunity, it's to really take that back, take a deep breath, and just realize all the beauty that we are surrounded by. And it's itself a gift from God, and God saying, "I've given you this. Now do something with it. Don't be stagnant. Don't be idle. Do something."
Yeah.
Right.
No, I completely agree with you. And, personally also, like, I have been a person who's been cautious of, because in Islam also it talks about, being cautious of your impermanence of your life, and life can end at any time. Now, I knew that concept, but now more than ever, I'm more aware of that concept. I am learning how to live more in the present right now and not worry about always worried about every nuance of